Hi, IB Language and Literature. During this video, I'm going to talk with you about formatting your essay. This video is going to be the shortest of all of them. The key thing with formatting, if you are confused, if you need help, please ask for help. I am happy to help you fix something if it gets wonky or if it looks weird, but it's hard for me to help if you don't ask. So please ask for help when it comes to formatting issues. But I do want to go through some of the key pieces that you need to remember when it comes to formatting your essay and how to write in, how to use MLA standard formatting in your higher level essay. Ultimately, formatting is about the reader. It's not about us, the writers. It's about the reader, because if the reader gets confused, or if the reader can't find something, or if they get lost, they stop reading. And then the whole point of writing has been for nothing. So we format our essays, we format our writing for easy reader access. We write for readers, but if the reader cannot understand what we have written, if it's messy, confusing, or unclear, then we have failed. Formatting our work is a great way to keep things organized and clear. So ultimately, we're thinking of the reader here. So you can see this paragraph has no punctuation marks. It has, well, I guess it has apostrophes, but it doesn't have any quotation marks. It is just a block of text. This is what an unformatted paragraph would look like. This is what the same paragraph would look like formatted. You can tell just from glancing at it that this is a dialogue. Two characters are going back and forth. You don't even need to read it to know that it's dialogue. When you look at this, you have no idea just glancing at it. And remember that oftentimes in the IB, your readers are just glancing at some parts of your essays. So you want to make sure that they are not confused, that they know what's happening in your essay. Formatting rules. Your essay should have basic information, name, date, period, top left corner. Follow the requirements in your template that you are completing for your essay. Your essay should have quotation marks around any quotations that you take from the text. Your essay should have correct punctuation, and anytime that you cite a text, the title should be in italics unless it is a short text. So for instance, if you are citing the piano lesson, you're going to italicize the title of that. But if you are citing Infinity by Ross Gay, you're going to put that one in quotation marks because that is a short essay from a larger text. Now, when you cite the Book of Delights, that will be italicized. But Infinity from the Book of Delights, Infinity will be in quotation marks. The Book of Delights will be italicized. When in doubt, please ask, but you have to mark it either in italics or in quotation marks. Your essay should be double-spaced. If you do not know how to double space, please ask. Your essay should be 12-point. Times New Roman or Calibri or Arial is fine. Basically, the font should not distract from your ideas, so it needs to be a pretty straightforward font. All paragraphs must be indented, and I'll point out how to do that in just a minute. And the title is centered and the inquiry question is centered. All else, the text is left aligned, not justified, not centered. If you're not sure how to align your text correctly, please ask for help. How to double space your text. You're going to click that button up at the top of your page with the arrow that goes up and down, and you're going to select double space. I've provided these slides for you so you can go back through and use the specific slides that you need to make sure that you're clear on how to do these formatting pieces. How to indent your paragraphs. Do not use the space bar to indent. You can see in the word indent, if you flip it around, it says dent in. You are denting in each paragraph, again, to give the reader a visual cue that a new paragraph has started. To indent your paragraph, you hit the tab key. You do not use the space bar. If you indent your paragraphs once, Google will do it for you in your documents. How to align your text. If your text gets weird and out of sorts, you probably have it misaligned. You'll click that alignment button up at the top of your page. And again, I'm going to provide these slides for you if you need to go back through. Your whole text should be left aligned except for your title and inquiry question. Those are the only things that are centered. Your text should not be justified. This button over here is the justified button. Don't do that. That's for newspapers. I've provided this for you. Again, these slides you can access. These are the Google Docs toolbar for you to check out just to get a reminder and a refresher of what each of these buttons do. Now, MLA formatting also has to do with how to avoid plagiarism. So we're going to talk specifically about MLA formatting and the requirements for how to cite your sources. MLA stands for the Modern Language Association. MLA it's the rules that we follow in English language arts. It's like the metric system or the imperial system. It's a system of rules that we follow. And in English class, we follow MLA. In your psychology class, you follow APA, or the American Psychological Association. You might follow APA or Turabian in your history classes. There are many different citation rule books for different subject areas. And the rules are basically the same in theory. We cite our sources so as to give credit where credit is due. But each system requires you to cite your sources in a different way. So we follow the rules of the MLA, the Modern Language Association. So how to avoid plagiarism? Plagiarism is any time that you take somebody else's work or ideas and claim them as your own. More often than not, when we plagiarize, we do it accidentally. And so if you follow these structures, if you follow these formatting requirements, you are less likely to accidentally plagiarize. When you are using a direct quotation is when you insert into your essay the exact words of an author, speaker, presenter, etc. So you can see what it looks like over on the right of my screen. And this is an example from Fences, another play by August Wilson. Troy turns to his son Lyons and says, comma, spacebar, open quotation. I done learned by mistake and learned to do what's right by it. You still trying to get something for nothing. Close quotation mark, spacebar, open parentheses, last name of the author, spacebar, page number, close parentheses, period. Common errors with direct quotation marks. Oftentimes students will forget the quotation marks, or will put the quotation marks in the wrong spot, or they might include an incorrect parenthetical quotation. Paraphrasing. What is paraphrasing? What is it, first of all, and what it looks like? Paraphrasing means to summarize someone else's words and or ideas and put them into your own words. So you can see over here the difference between a direct quote and a paraphrase from the same passage. So the first one is the quote that I just mentioned from the direct quote instructions. The second one there is a paraphrase. Troy turns to his son Lyons and says the difference between them is he has learned from his mistakes while Lyons is still trying to get something for free. They give you the same information. One, you're using the exact same words as from the text. And two, you are putting those words into your own words, those ideas into your own words. Common errors with paraphrases is that students forget to put in the citation. Even though these are different words from the text, you still must cite your source because this did not come from you. If the ideas or the words did not come from you, you must cite your source. And you can see that the citation is the exact same for a direct quotation as for a paraphrase, and that the period goes outside the parenthetical. Now, the works cited page. This is important to know because when you are writing your essay, you're going to paraphrase, you're going to use quotations. You also must have a works cited page. Now, I have provided for you your works cited page. You just need to delete the text that you're not writing about. A works cited page is a list of information given at the end of an essay, indicating what sources were used throughout the essay. You can see over here what it looks like in practice. You have up here at the top, it says works cited. By works, we mean all of the text that you used. If it's a video, it's a work. If it's a book, it's a work. If it's a poem, it's a work. And we use the word works to indicate that we read a lot of texts, and that text could be a variety of different things. So it's not a book list. It is a works cited page. These are the works that were cited in this essay. You can see over here that you have a series of of texts that are cited in the essay itself, and they are organized by last name. Bellinger comes first because it's the letter B. Krauss comes next because it's the letter C. Ibsen and Wilde. They go in alphabetical order by the last name of the creator of that text. You'll also see here Krauss, and then the next one just does dash, dash, dash. That's because this student reused another source by Sean Krauss, using Sean Krauss's slideshow, conventions of horror genre, and then wild context as well. If you use a source that we create, you can use the same citation process on your works cited page. And if you repeat the same author, you can just do that dash, dash, dash. So for instance, if you are using multiple essays from the Ross Gay book, The Book of Delights, then you would do this process. You would put Gay, comma, Ross, and then you would put them in alphabetical order of the title of each of the essays. So infinity would come before, filling the frame would come before infinity, because F comes before I in the alphabet, and you would put Gay first, and then you would just do dash, dash, dash to indicate that you are citing the same author again. Common errors with the works citation page. Incorrect formatting. If you are stuck on how to cite a source, you can always ask for help. And the most common error is that students forget to do the works cited page. The important piece about the works cited page is that it tells the reader where to find more information about your sources. So you can see that each of these sources was used in the text itself. So in the text, in the essay, you have each of these sources is cited in the essay. I'm going to show you what this looks like in practice. So in your essay, you have to have parentheticals or in-text citation. These are the same thing. We use these two terms interchangeably. In-text citation is also called a parenthetical. A parenthetical is anything inside a parentheses. So the in-text citation or the parenthetical comes at the end of the sentence that contains a quote or a paraphrase from the source. So this is what it looks like. You've got close quotation marks, space bar, open parentheses, no space between the parentheses and the last name. Wilson, space bar, number, no PG, no P, just the page number goes there, close parentheses, period. The in-text citation, the biggest errors is that students forget to include them, or the punctuation is incorrectly placed, or the placement is in a wrong location. So key things to remember: your in-text citation comes at the end of the sentence before the period. And the in-text citation ultimately connects the reader back to the works cited page. They can say, ooh, I want to check out this Wilson text. They look for the last name Wilson, and then they can go to the works cited page and find that specific text. So this is an anatomy of a proper parenthetical or in-text citation. Troy turns to his son Lyons and says, I done learned my mistake and learned to do what's right by it. You still trying to get something for nothing. Your quote should have the following 4 items. A lead-in, right here. Troy turns to his son Lyons and says, that's the lead-in, also called a signal phrase. It provides a bridge between your words and the author's words. A comma comes next to separate your words from the author's. So you've got a lead-in, a comma, space bar. Quotation marks around the borrowed text. Open quotation, close quotation. And then ending punctuation at the end of the entire thought or sentence. The in-text citation is a part of the sentence, so the period comes after the in-text citation. So these are some things. This is just a visual way of looking at it. You've got the lead-in, comma, space bar, open quotation, close quotation, space bar, open parentheses, last name, space bar, number, close parentheses, ending punctuation. The placement of the in-text citation. You need to provide your reader with the key information without disrupting the flow of the sentence. So the placement goes here. The in-text citation comes at the end of the sentence. What does it look like when they don't end at the same place? So if you, for instance, here I've got an example for you here. When Troy tells his son Lyons, I done learned my mistake and learned to do what's right by it, you still trying to get something for nothing, he is telling him to grow up. Even though I have added words to the end of my sentence, I still put the in-text citation, the parenthetical, at the end of the sentence, not right after the quotation. So make sure that the parenthetical comes at the end of the sentence, so that way it doesn't disrupt the flow of the sentence. What does it look like when it's done incorrectly? Oftentimes students will do this. They'll just kind of shove the in-text citation in the middle of the sentence like that. And what's difficult is that APA does require that kind of in-sentence disruption. In MLA, the in-text citation, the parenthetical goes at the very end of the sentence. So keep that in mind, that it comes at the end of the sentence, not in the middle of the sentence, not right after the quotation. So how does this work? You're reading an essay and you come along the following sentence. Troy turns to his son Lyons and says, I done learned my mistake and learned to do what's right by it. You still trying to get something for nothing. You think to yourself, that's fantastic. I want to read that part of the text for myself. Look at what happened before or after that quote, etc. You flip to the end of the essay and look at the works cited page. The in-text citation says Wilson 23, so you look for the name Wilson. Authors are listed alphabetically by last names, and you can see exactly what book the writer used when they referenced the text. So this specifically, so the in-text citation sends you to the works cited page as you are reading. The goal of your works cited page is to be a quick and comprehensive list of all of the texts you consulted while writing your paper, even the sources that you didn't quote directly, but one of your sources references. For example, I found a quote in author A's article that I really want to use in my essay. Upon closer inspection, it turns out that author A got that idea or quote from another author, author B. When it is time for me to cite my sources, I would put both author A and author B on my works cited page. We're going to discuss what the in-text citation for this scenario looks like at a later date. Key rule, general rule of thumb, when in doubt, cite it anyway. If you used something, if you used an idea, cite that source. Remember to format your higher level essay correctly, and when you have questions or you need help, please ask. I am here to support you. If you want to go back through these slides, I've included them on the page in Canvas. You can go back through them on your own pace and use the resources there. All right, get back to writing.